Live. What's going on, everybody? Tuesday, May 14th. Last night was gross. Basically nothing good happened in baseball.
Aaron Nola blows, man.
Ugly pitching top to bottom. Indians 8-1, real bad. Started off great. Immediate home run out of Lindor. I was like, all right, here we go. It's going to be one of those days.
Then nothing.
You can't... I mean, I'm sure everybody else expected Ronaldo Lopez to be the highest scoring pitcher.
The two teams, and look, I think both of us knew that the Indians could just fall flat. It's not that was less of a concern than Aaron Nola lasting 3 innings, man. 3 innings. Like you could talk, oh yeah, well Milwaukee's good. You must not have watched him pitch because yes, Milwaukee is good, but he had nothing.
No.
Like he trusted his fastball. He had so little faith in it that he just stopped throwing it.
It was brutal. Everything was brutal. Like nothing went. 2 pitchers on DraftKings hit 20 points.
It's crazy. And
I was snuck over that.
Yeah, oh, I know. Yeah. Backdoored the 20.
Yeah.
And
he was fine.
Yeah, he always is, man. Ray was too cheap on FanDuel and Yahoo. He just was. But I was feeling great about Minnesota too. 2 teams I had the most of. You get the early home run from Polanco. Yep. You got, the first 3 batters get on base, and then it's just, and Marwin Gonzalez too. But dude, it was yeah. Nola crushed me from the jump. Like I had a lot of Nola, and that was. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's baseball. Gonna be tons of slates like that.
What did Peacock have? Like 15, I think.
Yeah, everybody did. Like everybody was under 20. So unless you had Ronaldo Lopez, it really didn't matter what you were grabbing from pitching because it was all kind of a dumpster fire.
Yeah,
fantastic. 12 gamer today. Perfect for me. This is right in my wheelhouse. Just enough that I can pay up for pitching and grab cheap bats. There's enough options out there. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, sure. It's
basketball tonight.
Decent slate.
We got the lottery. Can't wait. Okay, who do you want to win the lottery?
Not the Knicks.
That's fair. That's
fair. I mean,
obviously the answer is the Sixers for you, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
we're not.
Let's be realistic here.
Right. How great would it be?
So
1% chance Zion Williamson on the Sixers next year.
Right. So all right, draft lottery. So the Knicks and then the Cleveland Cavs and Phoenix Suns are tied for the second best odds.
Yeah, Cleveland has the tiebreaker, right?
Yep. Then Chicago, Atlanta, Washington. Let's see Phoenix get it. If I'm a Sixers fan, let the Western Conference team win it.
You know who I want to get it?
Who's that?
New Orleans Pelicans.
That'd be interesting.
How dope would Drew Holiday, Anthony Davis, Zion Williamson? How dope is that trio when they're playing in Seattle in 2 years?
You think AD's playing another second in New Orleans?
I mean, what if the team's not in New Orleans?
Don't matter. I'm saying with this organization, you think AD's going to play another second?
They've got new structure in play. They got a year. I bet Zion makes it more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they need to do something now because Drew Holiday's not getting any younger, man.
Nope.
Like Drew Holiday, he's getting up there. He's been in the league for quite some time now. He's still a very good player, and they last. But this dude was drafted in 2009. He's been in the league for 10 years. So
would we agree that Knicks and Lakers are the 2 teams we want Zion to go to the least?
100%. 100%. Okay. Yes, of course. If the Lakers were to win the lottery, it's rigged.
It would be so annoying. I mean, the whole LeBron Zion thing would be fun, but also super annoying.
Right. It's weird though. Now, when you look at the odds to get the first pick, it's like 14%, 14%, 12.5%.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically from Dallas up is could be anybody.
Right. Used to be 25%. I mean, 14% odds. That It's not great.
The odds of the first pick look a lot like my stack ownerships on a 12-game slate.
Right.
At most 14, probably everybody around 4 to 7.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, it's not like Washington has a 5% less chance to win the number 1 pick than the New York Knicks. This is going to be fun.
I can't wait. Here's one last question before we get into the baseball stuff. We got some time. What would the team drafting second have to offer the team that gets the first pick? Or is it impossible?
I don't think it's ever impossible, but you're wagering your future on it, put it that way.
It's so much, right? Like
you're wagering you are giving away the farm. You're giving away, your first round pick for the next probably.
You can only do 4.
I don't think you'd have to do more than that. I mean, you are. Look,
financially, what you get from Zion is not like it has nothing to do with the on-court.
So here's my thing. I don't think Zion's worth trading up from 2 to 1 for. I don't think he's going to be an elite basketball player in the NBA. I think he's going to be very good. I think he'll probably be like a better version of Julius Randle, but I'd be hard pressed to say that Zion's going to come in here and dominate. I just don't think he's that type of player. And maybe I'm in the minority there. I've heard other people say it too, but to me, he is a similar player to Julius Randle, different in size, heavier and such, and a little bit more physically dominant. But I don't see him coming into the league and just being a immediate amazing NBA player. And I wouldn't trade from 2 to 1 for him if it means giving up everything. No way.
I think he's going to be bonkers.
Really?
Yeah.
What makes you think that? I know we got to get into this, but what makes you think that?
I don't really know how he's going to get defended in a pick and roll because of his strength and speed combination, turning that corner. I don't know how anybody gets in front of that.
Yeah, I mean,
and his ability, like, I think that this isn't going to make a ton of sense when it comes out, but like, I think there's going to be a lot of Jokic in him, in that I think he's going to have like decent assist numbers because of the way that people are going to have to collapse on him, because he's just going to roll right through people. That those kickouts to corners off of the pick and roll are going to be like bread and butter for him. A lot of handoffs from the elbow and stuff. I don't know how that gets stopped if he's got shooting around him. Now, if he goes to like some garbage squad, he's going to look like garbage. That's probably the tale for a lot of people.
Well, I just think it's the size of players is the disparity is so much different from college to NBA. I mean, you're trying to work you're trying to power through guys the size of DeMarcus Cousins and Joel Embiid, and Andre Drummond. The level of competition is vastly different. And while I agree, the size of this guy is still going to be his biggest advantage, I just don't think he's going to be able to be as dominant as he was in college. And if he doesn't have that, what does he have? Look, he's the first overall pick. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I don't think Zion is like the next coming of, name one of the greatest players of our generation or any generation. That's all.
That I agree, because I think what he's going to do on the floor is not going to be a normal template.
Oh, not even close. Yeah. Not even close.
Yeah.
He's going to be a good player. He's going to be a good basketball player. I just don't think he's someone that I would say, I'll give you, my next 4 first-round picks so I can move from 2 to 1. I wouldn't. I don't think it's worth that.
His growth defensively will tell the entire story. Because if he can run a defense, that's going to make him terrifying. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I'd say he's just a kid, but I mean, he makes me look like way more of a kid than he is.
He's 6'7", 284. just hope he can keep his weight under control. I know it's an odd
Well, as long as he
thought.
stops drinking Shirley Temples and stuff like some other centers in this league.
Yeah, and Joel Embiid hasn't taken very good care of his body and his health, and he's 7'1", like what 7'1", 2 whatever. This sick thick, just dude 6'7", 284. Like when he's out there, he kind of looks like Julius Randle until you realize that Randle is 6'9", 249. Like he has 2 inches on him, and he's 40 pounds lighter.
Yeah, it's craziness.
It is.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
It'll be fun though. Yeah.
I just hope he goes to a team that I like. If he goes to Memphis, I'll never see him play.
But he needs to fit. Like, they'll obviously.
How's he going to get past Yuta Watanabe? You know.
Yeah. Any team that drafts him is going to find a way to make him fit. But he already would fit better on certain teams. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I would love to see New Orleans if New Orleans can just leave New Orleans.
Like if Atlanta got first round pick, would they move Collins to the 5?
I try to play them together.
That's what I'm saying. Move them to the 5.
No,
they can at the 4.
They'd be both 4.5s.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right, baseball.
12 gamer. MLB strategy is the promo code. 50% off your first month with us. Ypsilon Red Planet. If you don't like it, leave.
That's right.
Laffy and I have been ruining shows for like a calendar year at this point. So if you didn't see this one coming, it's the lottery day. It's not like we're just picking a random Tuesday. MLB strategy is the promo code. 50%
I like to
off
say
your
we're
first month.
accentuating shows, but
yeah.
Okay.
You know, depends on the day.
Sure. Yeah.
Look, whatever it says at the top, when it says MLB DFS strategy, and you see on the left-hand side Josh Engelman, Laffy D, just know that the sport is up in the air.
Yeah, buckle your seatbelt.
Yeah. Just wait. We're going to get to, I don't know, late July, early August, and we'll be like, so, Carmelo Anthony again.
40 minutes on Melo.
Yeah. Yeah, look, we're 9:45 a.m. Sometimes you just got to talk about the most fun thing on the day, and that's today's lottery.
We may have gone overboard that show, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we did like a full half hour on Melo on what I think was like the MLB process show.
Yeah, we were researching stats for basketball.
Yeah.
That was bad. We learned.
We did. Yeah, we're trying. We're trying. We're trying to be engaging. But we do want to give the shout out to Yahoo. Yahoo is the presenting sponsor of this show, of the Deeper Dive, and of the Early Bird podcast. I'm going to drop the link into chat right now if you'd like to sign up for Yahoo. Please do. Please use the link. Yeah, get them. First, you can get them YSRPs. Use the promo code AWESOMO. Use the link in the chat. And you can get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points, which, you know, you can enter contests at. And that's the way to do it. Let them pay you. You know, it's like interest for your DFS winnings.
That's right.
Fantastic contest structures. 10 max, no CSV imports. You're not going to have to worry about running into 150 lineups from all of the top guys. Lower management fees on their contests. Sometimes they run contests with zero management fee whatsoever. It's really the perfect place to play. I think that everybody should be starting their day on Yahoo. I know people. I know everybody from Canada and Florida can't play there. We're just people. I can't control
Not
the
everyone's
things
from
Yahoo
Canada.
does. Yeah, I can't control that. We have no say in the matter of Yahoo letting people do that stuff. I don't have a hand in it. Can't help you. I know it's sad. Can't help you.
Yeah, I mean,
write your congressman. Write what if you're in Canada. Write whatever you guys call important people. I don't know the structure. Whatever you guys call congressmen and senators.
Yeah, the lower 48 also has a few states that can play it, though. So
yeah,
we kind of have to do a bit of both here.
Yeah, just move somewhere else. Right?
Yeah.
Move to Seattle so you can support the new look Supersonics with Zion Williamson, Anthony Davis, and Drew Holiday.
That's a wishful thinking right there, bro.
I know. And on that note, we have ownership. We do have ownership. We'll grab ownership and then we can get started. Laffy, any more NBA takes while I do this? Give the people what they want.
I don't think that's what anybody wants.
No. The only people that want that are probably you and me.
Yeah, probably. No, here's the thing. There's a lot that I would like to talk. I'm not going to do any of it because it's going to take us down a bad path. So
we're not going to talk about Chernobyl,
okay. I'll give you some Chernobyl. Yeah. If you guys haven't checked that out yet on HBO, the first 2 episodes are out and they're phenomenal. Check out Chernobyl. Look, Game of Thrones is ending in a week. It's a sad time to be. It's a wonderful and sad time at the same time to be alive because I've been watching this show since it aired, 9 years ago, and it's finally coming to a close. But Chernobyl, and it's a mini series. It's never going to fill that gaping void inside of our guts that yearns for Game of Thrones. But check Chernobyl out. You will not regret it. It's phenomenal. No, we are not sponsored by HBO or Chernobyl. I'm just looking out for the people.
Chernobyl handing out sponsorships now, trying to get people back in business. Nats and Mets. 3.7 run implied total for the Nats, 4.7 for the Mets, 61.
Free X-rays.
Yeah, 61% chance to win for New York. Jeremy Hellickson going for Washington. Noah Syndergaard going for the Mets. Syndergaard getting around 10% ownership on all 3 sites basically. 8-13 across FanDuel, DK, and Yahoo. No ownership clearly going to Hellickson. For me, Syndergaard is my number 3 on DK, also my number 3 on FanDuel. He's 9,300 on FanDuel, 7th most expensive pitcher. So I really like Syndergaard on FanDuel. I'll have a little bit on DraftKings and Yahoo. I don't love targeting against the Nats, but I think it's a good spot, not a great spot.
Yeah, the Nats right now, though, this team they're in some trouble. I mean, they're still down quite a bit of players. Trey Turner's not expected back until I don't think he even has a time yet.
I don't know.
This is something kind of big though. Howie Kendrick, if he's out, that could be interesting. My guess is that it was just a rest day, but it was also labeled day to day. Keep an eye on that. Of course, Juan Soto is back, so that makes things a little bit less appealing. If Soto was still out, I'd be looking at this a bit differently. Adams and Zimmerman also remain out. So if you're looking at this Washington team on the season against right-handed pitching, I mean, they are certainly struggling in a lot of areas. 289 WOBA, 133, 76 WRC plus, Josh. I think that is, let's see, it is ranked second to last behind only the Marlins this year.
76 weighted runs created plus is also what Wilmer Defoe projects for in Steamer. So that's the whole team of him.
Of Wilmer Defoe's, yes, yeah. Exactly. They also have the 10th highest, or sorry, the 9th or 8th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th highest K rate against righties. But so the injuries have killed them. It's been a rough go. I think Soto being back definitely helps them. But no, the Nationals have struggled this year for sure.
Yeah. The good news is they don't, outside of Yan Gomes, everybody that I have in the projected lineup, no one's like a really crazy big strikeout guy just in general. So that's limiting the amount that I would really want to get to Syndergaard. But like I said, he's my 3rd favorite pitcher behind Sale, which shouldn't shock anybody, and Kershaw is my 2. I'll have some Syndergaard, but it's just going to be like a relatively pedestrian amount. I think the 13% that we're projecting for DK seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, Robles strikes out. If Taylor's in the lineup, he strikes out. Gomes will strike. There's not a ton. Yeah, there's just not a ton of talent given all the injuries either.
Yeah, I think Syndergaard is better than everybody in the Nats lineup except for Soto and Rendon, and if he works through those guys, he's probably going to have a really good day.
What's the implied total on? It's 3.7 for Washington.
Yeah, okay. That's what I have right now.
3.7. That sounds about right.
Yeah, it's good, not great. Big slate, so you don't have to get too crazy. I don't really have too much else to add with regards to pitching.
No. Syndergaard's still sub 10K, so that's on DraftKings, which is nice, but I don't see him being a necessity here at all.
Mets are my number 3 stack on both FanDuel, DK, and they are second on Yahoo. They're getting a little bit of love, but ownership is really flat on hitting on DraftKings. They are the chalk on FanDuel, though, where just really advantageous pricing. McNeil leading off, only 3,400. JD Davis is 2,200. Cano, 3K. There's just no real struggle to fit in any of the Mets bats, so they're getting a lot of love. How do you feel about the Mets?
I don't really have any feelings at all towards the Mets against Hellickson. Hellickson's not good. He's also not awful. And what I mean by that is he does a couple things well. He can get some ground balls. He can get double plays, but he doesn't do anything particularly well either. So this is just, one of those spots where I'd want some Mets exposure, but I don't want to go overboard on them either. That very, very not a neutral spot for me, but I'm also just not enthusiastic about it either.
I get that. I'm running my crunch now. I don't get the sense. I expect to be under on them on FanDuel compared to where their ownership is. I assume that I'll be a little over on DK because they're not getting that same sort of love. But since Hellickson's not getting any real ownership, there's not I'm more likely to prefer like the Padres are probably going to climb for me. Trying to see if there's anybody else. Rockies will probably climb a little bit for me, which scares me.
I do like lefties a lot more against Hellickson though. 223 whip, almost 4 home runs per 9 to lefties this year. Woba's like his Woba ISO is 474, 369. Like he's been crushed. He has 12% K rate against them. Like lefties have really given him a lot of trouble. So I think that's one area where I would want to target if I'm going to do so. And the Mets do have a lot of them. It's not bad. And really, Nationals Park has played pretty hitter friendly. So it's a better spot than my first reaction to it.
Yeah. Favorite bat in this game?
It's probably still got to be Conforto. He's expensive, but he's still, if I'm looking for lefty power, that would still be the first spot I'm going. What about you?
It's hard to know if JD Davis really is hitting second. He's $8 on Yahoo, 2,200 on FanDuel. That's just probably going to carry me as like the general answer. I would say probably Pete Alonso, honestly, is my favorite bat of the Mets just in general.
Okay.
I like that dude. I don't know why. Because he's a Met, and I generally hate all the Mets.
He's really good. Hellickson splits against, we only have a month and a half, but his splits against lefties and righties are shocking. He's been so bad. Like he's giving up almost 50% fly balls to lefties, getting 52% ground balls against righties. Obviously, if I'm stacking the Mets, you're getting Alonso in there. You're not going to fade their best power hitter, and guys like Davis as well. But I do like the lefty power on here. The problem is guys like McNeil aren't exactly he doesn't have a ton of power.
No,
he's just leading off.
Yeah, not a lot of power there at all. Anything else from this game?
Doubles, but just not a lot of home run power.
Hey, like he's a decent hitter. Doesn't strike out, but it's not like
he's been fine.
Not like we're expecting a lot. We got your Phillies coming up next.
All right.
Phillies and Brewers. 4.1 implied total for the Phils. 4.3 for the Brewers. 51% chance to win for Milwaukee. Jared Eichhoff going for the Phillies. Brandon Woodruff going for Milwaukee. I see both of these guys in a really similar light. Eichhoff getting 16% ownership on Yahoo. Woodruff 23, where they're $38 and $36 respectively. They're not really getting any ownership, single digits on FanDuel and DraftKings. I don't have much of an interest in either guy. I assume that I'll get like 3-4% of both. but neither stands out as anything that I want desperately. What I really want in this game are the Brewers bats. They grade out as my number one stack on all three sites. I'm gonna have more Brewers than I'll have any other team today.
That's interesting. Eichhoff's been really good. I'm not as high on Milwaukee. I don't necessarily want to pay $9K plus for Jared Eichhoff either. I think there's definitely I want to draw that difference right away because while I think Eichhoff is pretty good, and he is actually, he has a very good curveball. He's getting a ridiculous amount of swinging strikes. Actually, let me just give you this right here. 12% swinging strike rate, 32.3% called strike plus swinging strike rate. So those are both good numbers, and he's striking righties out at 30%. I actually think he could go out here and have a very solid game. I think he could get blown up too because it's Milwaukee, but I'm very curious to hear what it is about the Brewers. Is it ownership, projected ownership? What is it that you really like today about them?
No, so even independent of their projected ownership, they are my number one stack, dollar for dollar. Basically two things. Sorry, I just ran a crunch, so I'm refreshing the FanDuel lines in my line. Okay, so I can hop back to this now. So first and foremost, probably not as big of a believer in Eichhoff as others. He doesn't really grade out all that well in Steamer, so that's the first knock.
Is that like your one way of grading them, or is that like your baseline for grading?
That is my baseline, yeah.
Okay,
but I could give him a pretty sizable boost, and I don't think it's going to make that big of a deal for two major reasons.
Sure, go ahead.
I guess one major reason. They're just linked. I think it's probably safe to say that this Brewers team has more power than any other team in the league. If not, it's super close. They have 6 straight guys from 2 to 7 in their order that project north of a 200 ISO. That's massive. As a team, in the aggregate, I get them higher than 200. That's a really big time number. And to be able to go to Philadelphia, a massive, massive home run park, particularly against righties, which is helpful to me because the lefties from Milwaukee are generally putting it out of any park they want. Thames, Shaw, Moose Tacos, Yelich. I'm not worried about what park they're in either anyway. Like, they just have it. So it gives a boost even to guys like Ryan Braun, even Lorenzo Cain, who is not a power hitter whatsoever, but gaining that massive boost is just perfect to me. I see this as a potential like high risk scenario because what I'm looking for are multiple home runs. But if any team is set up to do it, it's the Brewers in Philadelphia.
So I don't disagree with that at all. And I think the Brewers are very interesting today. Actually, I find the Brewers interesting almost any night, just given the raw power scattered throughout this lineup. Now, look, this is also a Brewers team that against righties this year has a 96 WRC plus. Like, as a team, this is their active roster, by the way. I prefer to use active roster. It gives you a better idea. They're 21st. They're 21st. They're basically tied with the Orioles. And in terms of ISO, they're 19th against righties this season. So that doesn't mean that the power isn't there, and it can't just erupt at any time. Yelich is fantastic. Moustakas has clear power, like you said. Lorenzo Cain and Braun both came about a foot shy of a home run in the first inning yesterday.
Yeah,
this park plays really well for homers, but it's also really weird depending on the weather. When it's a little chilly there, you see balls get knocked down in the outfield. If you've watched games at Citizens Bank Park, it's very strange the way the balls travel, but it's still very home run friendly. So I don't disagree with you at all. I just think that it's not as much of I'm not saying you're saying it's a sure thing. Nothing's ever a sure thing. But I think the difference here is I love their upside. I think the ceiling for a Brewer stack is always super high. But I also think that Eichhoff is better than you think he is. So that's where we differ a little bit. Outside of the walk rate, He hasn't allowed a home run this year in 30 innings. He's striking out more than a batter per inning, and he's missing a lot of bats. So Eichhoff's doing enough good things to where I can look at this matchup and say, you know what, he's been pretty good, and I wouldn't be surprised to see another pretty solid start.
Yeah, and I wouldn't either. He does seem to be trending in that right direction. I'm just really surprised at how little the Brewers are getting owned.
Yeah.
I mean, I have 3 times the field on FanDuel right now, like 2.5 times on DraftKings. And I'm not saying that, it should be some crazy number, but like, should Christian Yelich really be 6% owned ever?
No, and this is a dangerous spot for Eichhoff because lefties have given him more trouble than righties, and he's going to have to face quite a bit of them. And here's something really interesting, Josh. Look at his last 3 starts. Righty heavy St. Louis, righty heavy Washington, righty heavy Miami. You have a couple lefties in Colorado, but a lot of righties as well. So like the Mets, where he pitched those 4 innings, are the only team that he's faced yet this season that has ample lefties or that have ample lefties throughout their lineup. Now, he's faced 83 righties this year, 31 lefties. This is definitely the toughest matchup to date with the amount of left-handed power he's going to have to face.
Yeah, I mean, to navigate Yelich, Moustakas, Grandal, Shaw, that lefty stretch twice is going to be terrifying. It's not like Ryan Braun and Thames then are like some...
Yeah. Shaw's just been terrible. Honestly, like it's hard to even put Shaw in that category, man. Like he's been garbage. And maybe he'll turn it around, but navigating around Shaw has kind of been easy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. He has not been what you want him to be. No denying that. Yeah, like Low Cain is $9 on Yahoo. Probably one of my favorite plays of the day. Travis Shaw is $7. Not that he shouldn't be, but $9 for a leadoff hitter here.
What a good stack on Yahoo they make for it. You can play Yelich and neutralize everything just by playing the rest of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes it really easy to get to $25 Yelich.
Yeah.
I want to have a lot of this team because I think they're the most likely team to be able to just go bonkers.
Look, I get it. And I agree with you. I do. Even like I said, I still think Eichhoff is good, but it shouldn't make a big difference. The only negative here is that wind's blowing in from the outfield and it's going to be 55 degrees. Like I said, Citizens Bank Park is weird in that respect, and balls can get knocked down in the outfield, but you hit them hard enough, it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah, I mean, and it's bearing out in the implied total. Brewers 4.3. I'm anxious to see if that climbs at all today. If it does, I'll feel a little bit better. But I hope it kind of just stays where it's at because I don't want anybody else to get to the Brewers.
Right. Brandon Woodruff's interesting though because this dude's BABIP is through the roof. He's pitched better than the results have shown this year.
What's his BABIP?
Let me pull it up. Last I looked, it was the highest in the league. So I have against lefties and righties who I don't feel like pulling it up on FanGraphs.
That's fine.
420 BABIP against lefties, 356 against righties.
That's not great.
It's really high. Like it's really high. But consider this: he's striking righties out at 33%. He has a 29.3% K minus BB rate. That's elite. I'm not saying he's elite, but that mark is 25% K rate against lefties. A whip against righties of 104. Like he's been very unlucky, and I think you start to see that balance itself out a little bit. 12% swinging strike rate. Woodruff. Oh, and by the way, a 2.53 xFIP against righties, 4.39 against lefties. So 4.39 is not great, pretty much league average. But all in all, he's been better than the results have shown. And I think if last start was any indication, you're going to start, and the start before that, he's starting to turn things around.
Do you? I didn't get to any Eichhoff or Woodruff. Do you anticipate getting to these guys with any sort of volume or the Phillies bats?
No, it's not that. I was more so just suggesting that Phillies bats aren't in that great of a spot because Woodruff's actually pretty decent.
Yeah, anything from Philly for you?
Not really, no.
I mean, Harper, sure.
Yeah, dude, but I hate to be the guy that say, "Oh, he's been really bad lately," but I mean, 3 more strikeouts last night. He looks completely lost at the plate. You know, Woodruff doesn't allow a ton of fly balls. It's not a great matchup. It would just more so be you're playing Harper because he's, I guess, underpriced, but not really. I don't love Philly here, and
All that cheesesteak grease is just clogging up Harper's veins. He needs to figure out how to work it through the body first.
Right?
Spending too much time at Pat's and Geno's.
Right. Oh, dude, I would love that right now. I don't care what time it is. But I think Woodruff against righties is actually good.
I've been thinking about getting gyms to ship them to me.
That's not a bad idea.
No, they come in all like frozen and shit. Just
they're delicious.
Yeah,
well worth it.
I miss them from time to time. I think Katie's going up to Philadelphia in like a couple weeks, and I almost just want to go just to go grab a cheesesteak and then go right back to the airport. I don't even have to leave the airport. I'll just grab a Tony Luke's at the airport and call it a day.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. You got to do it the real way.
So much effort. All right, I think we can move on. We're 36 minutes in. That's 2 games down.
Yep. Are you on hitters from this game though?
A ton of Milwaukee. I didn't get to any Philly on FanDuel, and a little bit of like McCutchen and Harper on DK.
Okay.
It's all Milwaukee. They're my number 1 with a bullet.
Gotcha.
Marlins and Rays, 3.1 run implied total for the Marlins, 3.5 for the Rays, 54% chance to win for Tampa. Caleb Smith going for the Marlins. I feel like he pitches every day. Charlie Morton going for, I might have said Caleb Smith is going for Tampa. Caleb Smith is pitching for Miami. Charlie Morton pitching for Tampa. Morton, double digits in ownership across Yahoo, FanDuel, DK. I basically did not get to him. Caleb Smith, 27% ownership on Yahoo, 27% ownership on DraftKings, 8% on FanDuel. I actually got a 16% Caleb Smith on DK. I would not have expected that. He grades out fine. He's just sandwiched in between 2 guys that I like more. But even still, I got to a little bit. Can't pay the 10-7 on FanDuel. Love both of the pitchers here. Not sure I'll really get to Morton, unfortunately. I don't know what to say about these guys. They're both good.
Caleb Smith is fantastic, actually.
Yeah.
You have a lot of good pitchers on this slate, right? Well, Caleb Smith has the highest swinging strike rate of any pitcher on this slate. Okay, of any pitcher on this slate, he is at 16.7. Monster swinging strike rate for Caleb Smith.
Yeah.
He is also, let me pull this up. Has a 34% called strike plus swinging strike. So when you're just talking about up from an upside perspective, right? Like from a ceiling, Caleb Smith, the only downside is that he hasn't pitched an 8-inning game yet, but he's gone 6 innings in every game since outside of his first start.
Goes a lot deeper than Robbie Ray.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude, Robbie Ray can't get past the 6. It's crazy. But I mean, Caleb Smith is just really good.
Yeah.
And I have respect for this Tampa team. I think they're managed really well. And no team has taken like decent talent and turned it into a winning recipe better than the Rays over the past couple of years, in my humble opinion.
I'm with you.
But what'd you say?
Well, I guess the Marlins do.
How's that?
I mean, they churn out a ton of incredible young talent. They just don't keep it.
Yeah, they just get rid of it, right?
Yeah, they're really good at identifying it.
I'm talking about turning it into wins, though.
Oh yeah, no, they're not doing that.
Yeah, I'm saying
they're turning it into money.
But Caleb Smith to me is just one of those guys that 9,500. It seems underpriced, given how good he is. Now, the reason, as you know, Josh, the only reason Charlie Morton is more expensive than him on DraftKings is because of the dynamic pricing, and because, and by the way, a lot more expensive than him because he's facing Miami. Yeah. So one of them's better. Morton's a good pitcher. Don't get me wrong. He's a good pitcher, but Caleb Smith is a better pitcher, particularly for fantasy purposes.
Yep.
Like if Caleb Smith was facing his Marlins, he'd be 11K on DraftKings.
Yeah. I've got Caleb Smith with a higher projection, higher likelihood of hitting the target score than Morton.
Oh, for sure.
At a cheaper price tag. Now, Morton is cheaper than him on FanDuel. Like, I don't like Caleb Smith at 10-7 on FanDuel.
No.
But DK, 9,500, yeah, I'm in.
Yep. I think Morton is just your safer option. Like going up against the Marlins is just it's a safe play. This is a team that almost, really any category. They are dead last in ISO. They're dead last in WOBA, WRC plus. Like, you name it, whether it's against lefties or righties, they are terrible.
I got to 1% Morton on DK, projected for 15% ownership, 3% on FanDuel, projected for 17. Morton looks to be, I think, one of my more aggressive fades. I don't really have a ton of interest in hitting, although I did get to a little bit of Rays stacks, which I'm fine with. If Caleb Smith's going to get that much ownership, I'm okay having a little bit of a hedge because I think Tampa's at least mildly talented. Not a typical team that pops off as a 5-man stack, but I don't really have much else for this game. Like, the pitching is what's interesting here.
I'm with you. Yeah, it's pitching on both sides. No interest in hitting. The only other thing I'd say is that Caleb Smith at home has done a very good job of limiting power, as he should. He actually, I won't get into it, but I was going to start getting into to batted ball rates and everything. It's unimportant,
Okay.
but at home, he's suppressed power really well, and he has a 50% fly ball rate against righties, which at Marlins Park, can cushion a lot of that blow when your non-strikeouts are fly balls.
Favorite bat in this entire game?
I mean, do I have to?
Sure.
Tommy Pham.
This isn't the deeper dive. I make the rules around here.
Tommy Pham.
Okay. I don't disagree with you. You're right.
I mean, let's be clear here. There's no real,
there's no right answer.
I don't feel great about that. Caleb Smith's done a good job of holding runners, though.
He's good. I'm coming around to him. Red Sox and Rockies, 4.9 run implied total for the Sox, 3.1 for the Rocks. It's a 70% chance to win for Boston. Chris Sale going for the Red Sox. Kyle Freeland going for Colorado. Chris Sale came up in every single lineup that I just crunched for DraftKings, which is fun. 64% ownership on FanDuel. We'll see how that shakes out as we get closer and closer to lock. This Rockies team projects to strike out an absolute ton based on the expected lineup I have in right now. I'm a huge Chris Sale fan. I think that he is very clearly the top option today. And I'm going to have him. And I'm sure no one is shocked by that.
Yeah, this is what it all comes down to. I'm going to do something right here. I've been talking about this literally since his first start, but it couldn't be any more evident, any clearer than it is today. So fantasy points per game or by game, -4, 9, 0.8, 10.5, 23, 23.6, 33.9, 41. All right. So we're on an upward trajectory for Chris Sale. Now check this out. This is where it all matters. Raw whiff count on his four-seamer. I'll start from his first game. 0. So 0 whiffs. Game 2, 0. Game 3, 1. Game 4, 1. Right? Fantasy points in all of those was 10 or lower. Then we go 23, 23, 34, 41. Here's your raw whiff counts. 5, 6, 7, 14. As his fantasy totals go up, he misses more bats with his four-seamer. His fantasy totals go up because everything falls into place.
Yep.
And that is what you're looking at with Chris Sale. 14 season high whiffs on the fastball. Last time he did that was in July of 2018. The pitch is now working well. It wasn't earlier in the season. Chris Sale is completely back, and everybody should be aware of it.
Yeah, he it's to me it's not particularly close. He is the best pitcher on this slate, bar none. And the Rockies are I hope running out a lineup similar to what I have on the screen right now, because there's a lot of swing and miss in it, and I would be very, very happy to see it. Now, they could run out a very different lineup and reorganize this a little bit, and it'll bring down Sale's total ceiling, but there's nothing that's going to happen that makes me nervous about it. I have him 49.9% chance of hitting 30 DraftKings points today. 50-50.
I don't disagree with it. Like, I don't disagree with it. I know it sounds very basic, but when his fastball's on, you can't hit Chris Sale.
Nope. No.
It's that simple.
There's a reason he has that the Rockies have a 3.1 run implied total today, which is tied for the bottom.
Exactly. His slider was never not good this season.
No. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Sale today. He should be the first guy that you're putting into a cash lineup.
Agreed.
Especially on FanDuel, where like it's not difficult to get other bats. Like you'll figure it out. There's plenty of money to go around.
There's a concerning stretch start to the season, but he's back, and this Rockies offense. You want to talk about a team that's just completely neutered outside of their home park. Like it's the Rockies, man. So, yeah.
I mean, only 3 guys in their lineup today project with higher than average weighted runs created plus. Blackman, Story, Arenado. Everybody else is below 100.
Right. And
those guys are good enough to make the entire lineup still be above 100. But yeah, I'm loving Sale here.
Yeah, but what's that team WRC plus outside of Coors?
Probably not great.
Probably like 80.
I don't anticipate getting to much Boston. I mean, they're basically impossible to roster on DraftKings. Outfield to start. 3 guys above 5K. Bogarts is 48. Devers 48. Chavez is 5K. Really difficult team to stack up there. A little bit easier to get to on FanDuel, but I think Kyle Freeland is average-ish, probably like a hair below. So it's not something that I really want to go crazy for. Really, the only thing that I have a ton of interest in is Chris Sale.
I don't disagree. Freeland's home run rate's a little bit concerning this year, but yeah, you're going to have to pay a lot for these guys. His BABIP, man, against righties is at 207, but he's already allowing a lot of home runs.
That's not good.
That house of cards could come crashing down if, you know what I mean? You're allowing a ton of power, but not a lot of hits.
It would not be the first time that house of cards has come crashing down.
Nice. Solid. I like Boston bats. I just, like you're saying, I don't know how you're going to be able to get there, and it's a 12-game slate, so a little bit difficult.
I wish I would have said that like talking directly to the camera.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably better you didn't.
Probably that's also true. Anything else you want to touch on this here?
No, I think we covered it. Chris Sale, top pitcher on the slate.
Robbie in YouTube chat. I'm late, but the Canadian term for congressman would be a member of parliament. Good looking out, man.
That's right.
Yeah, I know that now that you say that.
An MP. They use the same thing over there in Britain.
Yeah. Anyway, Tigers and Stros. 4.5 run implied total for the Tigers. 6 run implied total for the Astros. 64% chance to win for Houston. Ryan Carpenter going for the Tigers. Wade Miley going for Houston. Neither of these pitchers are getting any ownership, nor should they. Astros with the biggest implied total on the slate. They are my number 2 stack on FanDuel, number 4 on DK, although they grade out as number 2. I am over the field on the Astros on FanDuel, over the field on DraftKings. I also have quite a bit of Tigers since they're cheap. So I'm anxious to see what you like here. I assume we want to start with the Astros since they're better.
Let me start with Miley for a second. I think Miley's like a good pitcher. Now, hear me out. Not a good fantasy pitcher, but Wade Miley does a very good job of limiting runs. Like he's not a bad real life pitcher at all. I mean, if this is a guy you got at the back of your 5-man rotation, you're pretty okay with it, you know, especially if you're the Astros. Hey, Wade, go out there, give us 6 innings, give up 2 or 3 runs. We'll do the rest. and that's kind of what he's doing. He hasn't get this. He hasn't allowed more than 3 runs in a start this series, this season. Not a single
Sounds like
start.
Wade Miley has been incredibly lucky.
Well, I don't think so, actually. I think Wade Miley is a decent real life pitcher. That's all. I think he is. BABIP's pretty low, so I mean, if we want to make that argument against him, it's definitely doable. But even last year, wasn't he pretty good? Like, I'm pretty sure he was.
466 Sierra. He had a very fluky home run to fly ball rate, just 5%, which is interesting.
Well, no, home run per fly ball rate is it's a trash statistic in my opinion. He's a
37% hard contact. Like, nothing looked good. He got hit lucky.
He's a 52%. He was actually no. I'm sorry. Home run to fly ball rate in his case is not a bad stat. 5% is crazy. I was 53% ground ball rate. I thought it said fly ball rate. 53% ground ball rate and 5% home run to fly ball rate is insane. Yeah, so let me take that back. That's crazy. Because the ratio is going to be more home runs to fly balls when most of your batted balls are ground balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of strange. Look, Josh, I'm not saying he's a stud.
That's what I'm
saying. What I'm saying is Detroit is bad offensively.
Yeah.
And they will run out a lot of righties. I just don't think they're good enough and Wade Miley's bad enough to where they stand out. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like equal to the field right now on the Tigers, projecting to run out 9 righties, which is amazing.
Yeah, because they got all those switch hitting bats.
Yeah. Astros clearly the bats that stand out here. Springer, 5,800 on DraftKings.
Yeah, he's getting up there.
I mean, leading off against a lefty.
Bregman,
I don't even think it's a crazy price.
I'm not saying it's crazy. It's just it's tough when Bregman's also 5,500 or 5,500 and
Brantley's
4,900.
Yeah. I'm going to get to the Astros. I got to 8% aggregate ownership there. We're only projecting 5. So I'm like 50% higher than the public on FanDuel. I don't mind paying up here because you are paying up for talent, first and foremost. And I am not exactly worried about Ryan Carpenter.
No, hardly. And you know what makes things a little bit easier is Yuli Gurriel and Aledmys Diaz could bat 5-6 again, especially with Altuve on the injured list. So you're actually getting a little bit of salary relief there where you definitely wouldn't get that when Altuve's in the lineup. And he's a better hitter, obviously. But it doesn't hurt having that Tyler White, if he bats 7th, it crushes lefties for the entirety of his career. He's 3,400. So as a matter of fact, getting to Springer and Bregman in the same lineup isn't impossible if you're balancing it with Gurriel, Diaz, and Tyler White.
Yeah, especially with Diaz having that second base eligibility, Gurriel having the third base. Like, you can really mix and match these pieces if you need to.
You might have some space in between, like you might be going 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, but you could also go 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. You don't need to have Springer. You don't need to have Brantley. But I think the 5, 6, and 7 there in Houston's lineup will make it a lot easier to get them into lineups as a stack than they normally would be.
Yeah, I totally agree. I really like these Astros here. Can't get too scared about Ryan Carpenter and his projected 5.26 FIP.
It's kind of funny. Altuve being out actually makes them more appealing to me.
Yeah, I feel the same way anytime the Red Sox are missing one of those outfielders.
Oh, for sure.
It's just like, okay, these pieces fit together better.
Right. And the cheaper guys get bumped up in the lineup.
Yep. Everything just gets easier to get to.
Yeah, exactly.
Favorite bat in this game?
Houston. Honestly, Springer, Bregman. I think Diaz, if he's batting 6th again, and Gurriel batting 5th, and White batting 7th. I'm not going to discriminate here, Josh. I like all of them.
I appreciate the answer. I'll also go with all of them.
Okay.
Perfect time for everybody to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel because that helps us out and it really doesn't affect anything for you. So just help. It'd be very nice. We like doing nice things.
Yeah.
Some of us do. Braves and Cardinals. 4.1 run implied total for the Braves. 4.5 for the Cards. 54% chance to win for St. Louis. Folty's going for the Braves. Jack Flaherty going for the Cards. No one getting any real ownership. The highest percentage is 4% on DK to Folty, so nothing really going crazy for Folty or Flaherty. Folty's 6,900 on FanDuel. And I don't normally advocate for paying down. I got 5% of him right now, but he is the 16th most expensive pitcher of the day. He's better than 16th. So, like, you can get a little bit of interest there, especially against a Cardinals team that runs to the right pretty aggressively after Matt Carpenter on a day-to-day basis. Not going to need to get to a ton of him, but I like him as a flyer. I don't really see myself getting to much volume here. I respect both offenses. I respect both pitchers. It's hard for me to want to choose between anything here.
Yeah, I agree, but that price point on Folty is a little bit strange.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult because he really has not looked good at all. Now, it's also not like he's faced the most potent teams either. He faced Colorado at SunTrust, not in Coors. He faced San Diego at home, which SunTrust, there was all this talk about it being a very lefty-friendly park, built for Freddie Freeman. It is not. SunTrust is skewed towards the pitchers since its inception, two years ago, and then the Dodgers in LA. So sure, I'll give him a pass there. He's worked his pitch count up a little bit each time, but he's allowed 5 home runs in 3 starts. He's getting hit very hard by lefties and righties. I'm not necessarily sure what's going on with Folty. This is something that I kind of want to look into a little bit further, Josh, because what I'm seeing, his velocity is down about 2 ticks from where it was last season.
Yeah.
I think that'll come back. I made a few I expect it to come back. And then some weird stuff like his 2-seam usage is down. He's throwing more slider, and the whiff rate is down on almost every pitch. So I feel like it's just bad luck. I don't know if there's anything serious. What do you see in Folty? Because it's been a rough start for him.
Yeah, I mean he's just a guy for me today. The only thing that gets appealing to me is the way too low price on FanDuel.
I agree.
Like he's just, he should be like 7,800 or something, and it would, if he was priced like Brandon Woodruff, it'd look a lot more normal.
He shouldn't be the same price as like Brett Anderson, yeah.
No, not at all. He's just he's a guy for me. I don't ever mind if I have him. He's never a guy I seek out. I assume he'll normalize a little bit. He's like a hair above average with some strikeout stuff. He's the type of guy that could put up a big day. I just don't have anything like exciting about him.
If his velocity returns, I'd feel a lot more comfortable with it. But when you're a guy that sits 96, you need every bit of that to remain effective. So, last year he was sitting right below 97 on his 4-seamer. This year it's at 94.4.
Yeah, that's not great.
No. And nobody's going to deny that velocity on the 4-seamer last year had a lot to do with his best career season.
Oh, for sure. I assume that rebounds at some point in time, but ultimately I'm happy to get like a couple % of him. And
right.
I like him as a flyer in large field GPP tournaments on FanDuel.
Yeah, sure. Look, a lot of righties here. It's weird that his swinging strike rate is below 10% against righties so far. But I want to think that when the velocity returns, he'll start getting more misses. We saw it with Sale.
Any interest in Flaherty?
Flaherty struggled too, man.
He got bombed in his last start, right?
By the Phillies, yeah. There was a defensive miscue, an error that prolonged an inning, and I think it just got him into serious trouble. But Flaherty's another one of those guys where he's clearly a good pitcher. Like,
Yeah.
Flaherty's a good pitcher. I just don't see the need to play him here. Not a lot of strikeouts. There's still some, I don't want to say red flags, but I don't, maybe you're in a different spot. He's
Yeah.
much better against righty heavy teams. And I just don't see the need to get there. He's still more expensive than I think he needs to be in a matchup against the Braves too.
Yeah, we're on the same page. I don't have any interest. I don't really have much interest in anything in this game. I got to a little bit of Cardinals on DraftKings, mostly Carpenter, Goldschmidt, Ozuna.
Carpenter, yep. Carpenter's 3,700. That's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, but there's no volume in this game for me at all outside of Carpenter.
Nope, same page.
Cool. Moving on. Twins and Angels. 4.5 run implied total for the Twins, 4.1 for the Angels, 55% chance to win for Minnesota. Kyle Gibson going for the Twins. Felix Pena coming in for the Angels. I did not get to any Pena. I did not get to any Kyle Gibson. This is not a game where I am interested in pitching, and it's barely a game that I'm interested in hitting. I'm mostly under the field or at best equal to the field. I have a little bit more Twins than I do Angels, but honestly, I don't get the sense that I'm going to have much of anything in this game. The floor is yours.
Sure. I don't disagree with you. As you know, I am a fan of Felix Pena. I think he does have actually pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
And when you all right, look, for example, he leans heavily on the slider.
He does.
Right. When that's working, he's going to get good results. 25% whiff rate on that pitch this year. And he's throwing the changeup more. He's getting 23% whiffs on that. So Felix Pena's ability to miss bats is not the issue here.
No.
31% called strike plus swinging strikes, 13% swinging strike rate. All of that looks beautiful. And actually, compared to most pitchers on this slate, he's towards the top. But Estudio's back, assuming he's in the lineup. That just makes this a much less enticing matchup. You're not getting a lot of strikeouts here. All in all, I just think it's tough to say, yeah, I'm going to go to Felix Pena against Minnesota when you've got 12 games on this slate. The one positive is he threw 7 innings last game, Josh. But mind you, that was 86 pitches. I don't think you're going to see him go more than 80 pitches most of the time. And at 7,500, it's going to be hard to justify that. But he's a good pitcher. I have no real desire to pick on him either.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I got to a little bit of Kepler because he's leading off, so that's fine, I guess. But yeah, otherwise, that's kind of it for me in this game.
I'm with you. I've also been a Kyle Gibson truther for as long as I can remember. So
yeah,
needless to say, I was happy to see his last start. But the Angels their K rates are so low, and now you've got Ohtani back.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay just not doing that at all. What's their K rate? It's got to be dead last
I project them for 17% in this game, which is insane. Fletcher projects at 11, Cozart 17, Lucroy 15, Pujols 15, La Stella 14, Andrelton Simmons 9.
It's great.
Nobody Ks.
Check this out. So the Astros, their active roster, 18.3% collective K rate against righties this year. That's second lowest in the league, 18.3. Angels, 14.9. Dude, they're almost 4% lower than the next best team in strikeouts.
It's insane.
Crazy, right?
It's insane. They just don't strike out. I mean, I assume that's probably intentional.
Yeah. You saw what happened to Berrios. He couldn't get out of 2 strike counts. He couldn't get out of the at-bats.
Yeah, I don't have anything else for this game. The Angels are getting a little bit of love, especially the Trout Ohtani piece. I'll never talk anybody out of that, but yeah, I don't really want any part of this.
I think Ohtani at 4,100 on DraftKings is a phenomenal play. I said the same thing yesterday against Berrios. Play the talent. He homered, I think, against Berrios just because he's really good. So if it's against Gibson and his price hasn't moved, you best believe I'm very much interested in Ohtani. But 4,100, as you know, 4,100 is just way too cheap for a guy of his caliber.
It is. He grades out very well. 3,300 on FanDuel. Also pretty interesting.
Yep. Yep.
Royals and Rangers. 5.3 run implied total for the Royals. 4.7 for the Rangers. I can't imagine what this total would be if this game was in Texas. It's a 57% chance to win for Kansas City. Danny Duffy on the hill for the Royals. Shelby Miller on the hill for the Rangers. There you go, buddy. I don't anticipate getting any legitimate ownership to anyone out. Like, I got a couple shares of Duffy, nothing crazy. I am very surprised by this game. Obviously, we don't think that Miller is very good. Royals getting a lot of love, mostly in the Merrifield-Mondesi duo at the top. I essentially don't have anything from Kansas City. I have a very small amount of Texas, but this game is really not on my radar.
Yeah. So pricing is going to make things tough, and that, like, if the Royals were priced differently, I think you'd see a lot of ownership here.
Yeah.
But Alex Gordon, Mondesi, Whit Merrifield, Hunter Dozier, these guys are all 4,800 or above on DraftKings. They're expensive.
They are. I have no interest in paying those prices.
Crazy because, Shelby Miller has already allowed 6 stolen bases. He's not great at holding runners, so this team's going to run anyway. The matchup becomes easier depending on who's behind the plate, but still, they're going to run. Like, I actually really wish I could play Kansas City bats here. I just don't know how. I don't know how you're going to get there. It's really tough.
Yeah, I just didn't. I mean, we have Merrifield at 16% expected ownership, Mondesi at 17 on DraftKings. It's 16 and 22 on FanDuel. I got 1 and 2% of these guys.
They have the second highest implied total on the slate.
For some reason, like, because of those price tags, like, it's just wholly unappealing to me.
Shelby Miller has a -5% K-BB rate against righties.
Is this like golf? The bigger the negative number, the better you are?
Yeah, hardly. He is walking them at 16%, striking them out at 11%. He has a 6% swinging strike rate. The lowest called strike plus swinging strike rate on the entire slate. The lowest swinging strike rate on the entire slate. I really want to talk. I really want to pick on him. Like 7.38 xFIP against righty. These numbers are so bad, Josh.
He's atrocious.
They're
Seriously, what's the total on this game if it's in Texas? 14?
I know, right? And what's crazy? Shelby Miller's BABIP is 300. It's below league average.
Oh, God. You think he makes it to September?
No. I absolutely don't think he makes it till July.
Yeah, did he make it to the All-Star break? I don't have anything else here.
No.
Favorite bat in this game?
I really like Kansas City in a vacuum.
It's Mondesi for me if it has to be somebody.
Right. Yeah, I like them in a vacuum. I mean, I really like Alex Gordon too, but how you get there is a whole different story. You don't have any Texas?
Not really. I mean, the public doesn't. He's at everybody's basically 1%.
Yeah,
on the Rangers. I got to like 7% of Odor and Mazzara on FanDuel, but that's the highest I have of anything here. I have very little Texas or KC.
They're just a very unimposing team against lefties.
It's so many. 4 of their first 5 hitters are all outfielders, so it's not like you can just easily stack them up.
And aren't 4 of their first 5 hitters lefties?
No. Oh, well, I've got Chu, Andrews, Mazzara, Pence, Gallo at the top. 4 of 6. If we go to Odor.
4 of 6, yeah.
Diamondbacks and Pirates. This one should be fun to talk about. 4.9 run implied total for the D-backs. 4 run implied total for the Pirates. It's a 60% chance to win for Arizona. Luke Weaver going for the Diamondbacks. Joe Musgrove going for the Pirates. Luke Weaver on DraftKings. 22% expected ownership. I got to 1%. This is going to be a pretty big fade for me. So, talk to me about Luke Weaver. Do you like him here against Pittsburgh?
No, that surprises me, man.
Yeah, same.
It's not like, oh, I hate Luke Weaver. He's actually, you and I talked about this last week. Weaver's actually been pretty decent. You know, I'm not taking anything away from the guy, but this is also, look, I do look at team stats and team strikeout numbers. This Pittsburgh team doesn't strike out very often against righties.
No.
They really don't. And they do more against lefties, but that sample is not big enough for me to really feel confident in it. Weaver's been good. He's just not cheap, number one. And number two, how are you getting the strikeouts there? Like, are you getting the strikeouts for that price point and for that ownership nonetheless?
I've been projected for 5.8 strikeouts. He's essentially the same as Jack Flaherty and Fulte and this sea of dudes in this price range. And it's just like, okay, well, if he's 22% and all of these other guys are 4, I don't need Luke Weaver.
I don't need Luke Weaver either.
I don't get it.
Maybe is it just because like, oh, he went out to Coors and had a great game, and I don't know. Like, neither of us are taking anything away from the guy.
No, I like him.
He's been pretty good, and he's definitely turned things around. But I'm not sure. I don't sure how he's that popular.
I'm going to get to a little bit of Musgrove. 6,500 on DraftKings. I think he's the best pay down option on the slate. I don't want to go any lower than him. So if you need to pair Sale with someone cheap, I don't mind going to Musgrove. It's not a really appealing spot. I don't think that Musgrove is a particularly good fantasy pitcher, but at 6,500, you're looking for sort of different things from everybody. Really, I don't have any interest. Like, the only thing that I'm going to get to is Pirates hedge stacks against 22% owned Luke Weaver.
Musgrove hasn't been a particularly good anything pitcher lately.
No, he's been brutal.
I mean, whew.
Yeah, I'm not trying to give him a ringing endorsement or anything. He's the best. He's the best of the garbage.
I didn't take it that way. I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, he's faced 2 tough teams, but like 7 walks in those games. He has 7 walks to 4 strikeouts over his last 2 starts. That's pretty alarming.
It's bad.
No matter who you're facing.
Yeah, it's really bad.
I would like to see I'd like to try and figure out what the deal is. Everyone's suggesting that there's no injury here, but I would assume if there's one more brutal start, you might see a 10-day IL trip or something like that. But
yeah,
Arizona is good enough to where they're also super expensive. So I'm not getting to Arizona here.
I got flat 0 on DK.
Yeah, but I'm also not huge on Musgrove at all.
Yeah, this is not a game that I'm going to have a lot of other than Pirates hedge stacks. And that's really only on DK because it's not like Weaver's getting ownership on FanDuel. So something I'm going to pay attention to as the day goes on.
I think the Pirate hedge stacks make sense.
Giants and Jays. 4.1 run implied total for the Giants, 3.9 for the Blue Jays, 51% chance to win for San Francisco. It's going to be Tyler Beede going for San Francisco, whenever he gets in. Trent Thornton going for Toronto. I didn't get to any Beede. I didn't get to any Thornton. The public's not getting to either of these guys. Do you have interest in pitching in this game?
Not really. Thornton's just been I feel like he should be better than he is.
Yeah.
He's got the curveball, he's got that spin rate, but his pitches are actually getting hit pretty hard. So, he has the benefit of pitching at Oracle Park and against a Giants team that isn't good.
Nope.
But I also just don't know if this is a spot where you need to get there. Now, he's cheap. Like, his price is down, so that's good. I don't know, man. The Giants actually, what are they striking out at 23.8% against righties? Damn. Actually, their collective K rate right now is top 8 in the league, or is the 8th highest against righties, and they're pretty dreadful across the board. I don't think it's crazy if Thornton's gonna get no ownership. Like, I don't know. If Weaver's 22%, it surprises me that someone like Thornton gets nothing against San Francisco. Put it that way.
Yeah, that's another reason why I don't think that Weaver should get that much ownership. There's just plenty of other dudes to go to if someone's going to be that chalky.
Exactly. I don't really know. I don't know where you make the call that, oh yeah, Weaver against Pittsburgh that doesn't K at Chase Field is, 20% more better than 20% better than like Thornton at San Francisco. I guess it's just maybe because Thornton hasn't been consistent and Weaver has. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I did get to a little bit of Giants on FanDuel. They're crazy cheap, but they're easy to stack. Second, catcher, third, first 4 guys in the order. So I think that I'm going to end up with a little bit of Giants in my like sale plus expensive team stacks because they fit in really well. I don't ever like getting bats in San Francisco, but I mean these guys are all basically sub 3K except for Brandon Belt, so they make things work.
That actually makes perfect sense. Well, and maybe not even just a sale plus expensive team. It might be a sale plus Caleb Smith lineup too, or some. I don't know what you have, but there are some decent high priced pitchers outside of just sale.
Yeah, for sure. And then Blue Jays, I'll have some interest in Vlad Guerrero, but I don't have a ton of volume here either. It's a really awful park.
Yeah, and Vlad taking some time to acclimate, huh?
Yeah, apparently.
I mean, he's been actually pretty horrible.
He has not been great. No, he is not.
No, he'll be fine, but
yeah, I'm not worried about it.
He does not have a home run yet.
I think he's got someone in the family that he could talk to about the ups and downs of baseball.
Yeah, he's been there before.
Yeah, he's been there. He's probably never known anything other than Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
fine.
Decent sounding board.
Yeah, Dodgers and Padres, 2 games to go. Dodgers 3.9 run implied total. Padres 3.1. 60% chance to win for the Dodgers. Clayton Kershaw going for LA. Chris Paddock going for San Diego. Kershaw is my number 1 here. Him and Paddock looking very similar. I just have Kershaw a hair ahead of him. A lot of that just has to do with the fact that Kershaw gets to face the Padres and Paddock gets to face the Dodgers. If you flip-flop these 2 guys, I'd probably like Paddock more than I like Kershaw. Kershaw, 33% expected ownership on Yahoo, 14 on FanDuel, 31 on DraftKings. I'm pretty similar to those numbers on all those sites. Here's the interesting piece. Chris Paddock, $4 cheaper on Yahoo, 1% expected ownership. Kershaw at 33. He's $10K on FanDuel, which is $200 cheaper than Kershaw. No expected ownership. On DK, $200 cheaper, 6% compared to Kershaw. If you just want to do anything today and you have your eye on tournaments, if you were thinking about Clayton Kershaw, your best bet is probably to just go to Chris Paddock instead because they are not as far apart as the ownership is implying.
I do not disagree with you whatsoever. Let's just compare some of the numbers that you're looking at when you're talking about getting that ceiling. Paddock swinging strike rate 13, Kershaw 11.7, called strike plus swinging strikes 31.6 for Paddock. For Clayton Kershaw, it's 29.4. So Paddock this season has gotten beat in both of those categories. Paddock striking righties out at 38%. Clayton Kershaw at 27%. I mentioned that because Kershaw is going to face a slew of righties today. And Paddock has just got flat out really good stuff. Did you see the whole thing with him and Pete Alonso?
I did not.
Yeah, it was last start where there was a bit of a war of words.
Little kerfluffle.
Yeah, little kerfluffle, yes. And needless to say, Chris Paddock got the best of that battle, like by a long shot. So pretty fun, actually. It was there's stuff that you'll see, but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure Alonso struck out 3 times, and Paddock had 11 strikeouts. So, after the game, Alonso was very upset with himself. Very upset with himself.
It's just a very natural pivot for ownership. I think Kershaw is better, and I prefer him. But I mean, 14-0 on FanDuel, 31-6. It's just that's just not going to be that.
The biggest thing is the Padres against lefties are not this pushover, roll over and die type team that you would think. Like, yes, they will strike out, but not as much as they do against righties, and they're just gonna bring so many righty power bats to the plate. Look, I'm not saying all these guys are fantastic, but they do have power, and it's not the easiest team to navigate around anymore. That one man's opinion, but you still have Manny Machado, Hunter Renfroe batting against lefties, Will Myers, Franmil Reyes has power. That this is not a terrible team when facing lefties.
No, not at all. I mean, they're very much set up for it. If this were a different lefty, you'd be very nervous.
Absolutely.
I really don't anticipate, outside of pitching, I don't anticipate getting to anything here. I think both pitchers are really good, and the last thing I want to do is target bats.
Yep. I just more so agree with your point on Paddock, given the wide disparity in ownership right now.
It's just a lot.
He's proven that his ceiling is absolutely as high as anyone right now.
10.4 Ks per 9 via Steamer. That is a full strikeout and more higher than Clayton Kershaw.
Crazy, right?
Better FIP as well.
Yep. He's got a 31% strikeout rate on the season.
He's really, really good, and it's only going to look better and better if he continues to pitch in San Diego.
Yeah.
Final game. We took that slight detour. We took the scenic route to the baseball content today via the NBA lottery. Still only at an hour and 22 minutes on a 12-game slate.
When you're good,
you're good. We're just good at it. So.
Oh yeah, no, we've timed this nicely. I mean, the goal is to bang it out by 11, and look where we are.
Yeah. Mariners and A's. 4.4 run implied total for the Mariners, 4.6 for the A's, 52% chance to win for Oakland. Mike Leake going for Seattle. Brett Anderson going for Oakland. Neither of these guys are particularly good. I got to 4% Brett Anderson because Chris Sale's expensive is basically the reason. I cannot advocate for anything other than, shares of either guy if you play 150. I could not imagine wanting to focus on either one if I were trying to build 1 or 3 or 5 lineups. Do you have any interest in Leake or Anderson?
No, I don't. By the way, quickly, who do you think has the highest swinging strike rate on this slate is Caleb Smith, 16.7. The second highest is 13.4, Chris Sale. Who do you think is third at 13.2 on this slate? Just take a guess. A lot of good pitchers.
Give me the numbers again so I can think about it.
So Caleb Smith leads the slate at 16.7, far and away the highest. Then you have Chris Sale at 13.4. That's second highest swinging strike rate. Who do you think is third at 13.2?
I mean, are you leading me to Mike Leake right now?
No, it's actually not from this game.
Okay. Because I was going to say, just tell me it's Brett Anderson, and let's end this shit, so I don't have to guess 18 other people.
Mike Leake is a crisp, a robust 8%.
You're gonna. I think the only reason you would bring this up is to rub some Philly nonsense in my face. So Jared Eichhoff.
No, it's Kyle Gibson.
Okay, I wouldn't have got there.
Kyle Gibson. Yeah, and Felix Pena, 13 even.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty surprising.
Okay. I clearly took a couple different paths of you just making it seem that it's Mike Leake, or you just trying to get a Philly piece.
It's a hard one. Yeah, it's a hard one to guess. Sure. But now Mike Leake, definitely. I don't. This game actually is just one that I'm not all that interested in at all. It's a bad park.
Ooh, we're gonna have a difference of opinion here.
So okay. Well, let me ask you this: where is it in this game that you're going?
Oakland bats.
Oakland?
Yeah.
So were you on Oakland yesterday?
Not really.
I liked them until I saw that the projected ownership was crazy high because their prices are still way too low. And for that reason, I'm interested. But I do. What is do we have the ownership out on them?
Yeah, so they are third on DraftKings, but DraftKings is really flat right now. I'm actually double the field on Oakland. They're my
Okay.
second most owned stack on DK, and they are third for me on FanDuel.
Okay. Yeah. Awesomo's stack tool has them at 7.1. He has them the second highest stack ownership behind Kansas City.
That is correct.
So, I
I
mean,
have Kansas City is like my biggest fade.
right.
They're
By
like
the way,
dead last for me.
you're right about it being very flat. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams between 5 and 7%,
Yeah.
or 7.6%.
Yeah. So I have a lot of Oakland. Profar, Chris Davis, clearly, Matt Olson. I get a lot more of the bottom of the order when people don't get rostered. So Laureano, Nick Hundley as a catcher on DK at 2,800. Like, I don't think he's any good, but he becomes a part of 5-man stacks really easily.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just when you're getting them at this price, like Matt Olson's 3,900 on DraftKings, specifically. God, Chapman 45, Chris Davis 4K flat, Piscotty 3,600. Given the power that they have, and ceiling as a stack, yeah, you don't want to ignore that. I agree.
Yeah, let's see, where were they in just like generic rankings? They're my fourth best stack dollar for dollar on FanDuel, and same on DraftKings. Yep, fourth on DraftKings, fourth on Yahoo, 444, fo.
There you have it.
Yeah, I did not get to any Mariners. That kind of surprised me, but they're kind of expensive. Like these A's bats, Semien 3,900, 3,500 for Profar in the 2-hole. I want Jerkson Profar to be good at some point in time in his life.
It's not impossible.
Well, he's just, I mean, he was a prospect like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he was a top prospect 12. I mean, he debuted in the league in 2012.
I mean, I remember them. I remember the Rangers bringing him up, then down, then up, then down. I mean, he debuted in 2012, right? And then
Yeah.
in 13, he was in AAA, and then he debuted again. And then in 2015, he was back there. And then 2016 or 17, he was back there. Like, that, what a wild ride. Talk about mismanaging a guy.
Dude, 2011. High A ball, 500 plate appearances, had a 142 weighted runs created plus as a 18-year-old shortstop prospect.
Yep. And then 127 at
Yeah.
AA.
He was a number one. He was a guy. He was a can't misser.
It goes to show you that if you can trade a prospect for a talented, sure thing, already proven player at the major league level, do it. That's my belief.
For the most part, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, look, there's always going to be exceptions, right? There's always going to be exceptions.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, really the only exception for me is where am I on the win curve?
Right, of course. Yeah, no question. Or if it's, I mean, I don't know. I guess, certain guys are no doubters or sure things that don't pan out. And then others, it's like they're just going to be good no matter what. Pitchers specifically.
Favorite bat in this game?
Chris Davis.
Yep, agreed. And that's it. 12 games up, 12 games down. Do we have any weather issues that are standing out?
Pulling it up right now. Last I looked, I think we're okay.
I thought we were.
Maybe some. Oh no, that game's earlier.
I think we're all. Nothing specific.
Yeah, I think we're clear.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you for joining us. Rest of the day looks like this: 2:30 p.m. Ben Raza, Tim Frank, talking PGA Championship. We got a really big one. There's a millionaire on DraftKings this week. So if you're into golf, today is the day to check out our PGA DFS strategy show. Ben and Jason Roslin will be live tomorrow night at 9 p.m. doing live before lock. We'll have the deeper dive at 4:45 today. 12 gamer?
No, we were gonna do 5 o'clock. It's 13 or more we're doing.
Okay.
I mean, unless you think we should do 4:45. I think we can make.
Let's say 4:45 so that I know that you guys will start at 5.
You're talking to the wrong guy.
At least we know Adam will never hear that. No, deeper dive at 5 today. Live before lock. Chris and Jake going from 6 to 7. Deep dive will be out from Adam in the afternoon. That's where we're at right now. Shout out to Yahoo. I'll drop the link in chat one last time. We appreciate them being our presenting sponsor on this show. You should use the link that I am pasting to sign up. It helps us out a ton. Use the promo code AWESEMO when you do it. You get $30, up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points and YSRPs.
YSRP.
And if you want to sign up and check out all of our premium content, rankings, projections, ownership, premium Slack, use the promo code MLB Strategy when signing up. 50% off your first month with us. Laffy, anything else?
I think that'll do it, man. Good show.
Here's
nice timing here today.
Who's the pick? Who gets the number 1 pick in the NBA draft today?
I'm gonna say Suns get it 2 years in a row.
Okay.
Do you know that Devin Booker has played with a different coach all 5, or he will be? This is 5th year's coming up, so it'll be 5 years, 5 different coaches. You want to talk about mismanaging a young superstar? Look no further than the Phoenix Suns organization. What a disaster, man.
Yeah, not great.
Even if it wasn't a good coach, right? Like, listen, even if he wasn't great, you can't keep the guy's got zero consistency, no traction whatsoever. He is good, but he could be so much better.
Yeah, if he were on a different team, I mean, you could say that about a lot of guys, but
right, but no continuity at all. And you're talking about 5 years, 5 different coaches. It's a shame.
You ready for my prediction?
What are you going, Pels?
I think that our boy Ship My Modem DFS is going to get shipped to Zion Williamson.
You think you think Washington's going to get him?
Yeah. He's going to the Wiz.
Oh, man. I mean, their chances aren't that.
That's a fun little combo with Beal. It's a shame that John Wall is going to be a noose around the neck of the Wizards for 4 more years.
Yeah, I mean, Washington that still has no chance, but it wouldn't hurt them. Would not hurt to get Zion.
No, not at all. All right, guys, there it is. Give your predictions in the comments section. Let us know who you think wins the NBA lottery today. Perfect comment for the MLB DFS strategy show. Thank you for joining us. Best of luck tonight. We're out of here.